All good.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'll go past our beautiful slide here to our agenda. So I posted in the forums and I didn't see anything in there that anyone wanted to add to the agenda, but I think we should have time at the end of the day just for an open forum where we can talk about how things are going. Many of you have reopened since our last meeting to the public or have started doing curbside services. So yeah, I'm hoping to make some time that we can all chat about what you're all up to. But we will get started with, we'll do some introductions and then have an update just where we're at with Aspen, and we're gonna do an activity that will be super fun. So while we're doing our introductions, I'm actually gonna post links to, for the activity, you'll need a worksheet that you'll have to download and fill out. It's just a Word doc, so hopefully that should be accessible to all of you. And then some personas that we'll be using that we worked on last time. So yeah, let's do some introductions. I can start. I know we have also a couple people from Cataloging Advisory joining us for our activity today, so I'm excited. So I'm Tara. I'm the User Experience Manager at SWAN, and yeah, I'll pass it off to who wants to go next. I'm looking at my list. I'm gonna pick someone if no one jumps in.
I'll go.
Yay!
Okay. I'm Kelly. I'm from the Itasca Community Library, and I work in youth services. Is that all you need to know?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll go next. I'm Sharon Reiswitz from the Downers Grove Library, and I'm also in kids.
Awesome. Hi, Sharon. Who's next?
I'll go. I'm Ange. I work at Oaklawn, and I am a fiction librarian, and also I work reference.
How about... All right, I'm calling on people. Susan. Do you have a mic, Susan?
Sorry, Susan DeRoni. I work at Glen Ellen Public Library. I'm the head of adult services.
Hi, Susan. Who's next? How about Michelle?
Hi, everyone. I'm Michelle Kurzak. I work at the Messenger Library in North Aurora, and I'm the head of Youth and Teen Services.
And Sarah?
Hi, I'm Sarah Slack. I'm the Electronic Resources Librarian at the St. Charles Public Library.
And Carrie? Do you want to say hello?
Sure, I'm Carrie Halter. I'm the Technical Services Manager at Batavia.
Awesome. And Julie?
Hi, I'm Julie Tegmeyer. I'm the cataloging librarian from St. Charles. Hi, Sarah. And I'm from Cataloging Advisory. So thank you. Okay.
Awesome. And Jean? Does Jean have a microphone? Jean does not have a mic and camera. Okay, but we'll all say hello to you, Jean. What about Jason?
Hi, I'm Jason Stolman. I'm from Elmwood Park Public Library. I'm the assistant director.
Awesome. Hi, Jason. And Graham?
Hi, everyone. Graham Dostal from Tinley Park Public Library. I am the Learning and Technology Services Coordinator.
Cool. And then we got a couple SWAN people. Oh, wait, did we just get joined by Val? Do you want to say hello, Val?
Hi, I'm here. Sorry, was having trouble logging on.
Oh, no worries. Hello. And where are you from, Val?
Tinley Park Public Library,
Yay.
Youth Services.
All right, I think we got some, we just have some SWAN folks left. Sue, do you want to say hello?
Hi, Sue Stufar with SWAN Bibliographic Services. Hi, everybody.
And Crystal?
Hey everyone, it's Crystal from SWAN.
And Robin?
Hey, it's Robin from SWAN. Good to see you.
And Sam, I think is our last one.
Hi, this is Sam Deedle with SWAN Bibliographic Services also.
Cool. All right.
Also me, hi. I'm Scott from SWAN Bib Services.
Scott.
It's okay. I think Claudia's here too.
Hi.
Hi, Claudia. Hello. I'm sorry.
Hi. I was just sneaking around here.
And so is Dawn and Erin. So hi, everybody.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. I'm so bad. Okay.
Yeah, hi, everybody.
All
I can
right.
put my camera on.
So I've just posted 2 links in the chat that we'll use for our activity, which Scott and I both worked on putting together. It's gonna be super fun. But first, I'll just give you a see. We'll go into our agenda. So, there we go. Slides. Okay. So just a few quick updates on where we're at with the Aspen Discovery Project. So we do now have a test instance. It is live. I should also note it is in development. You're going to get to play with it in a minute. But, you know, be gentle. There's still a lot of things that we're working out and kinks and that kind of thing. And right now we have a test instance just for SWAN, this kind of consortia-wide SWAN catalog. Our next step is to work on getting a couple test instances for individual libraries set up. So it's just something to kind of keep in mind as you're looking at it. And then I posted in the forums, Bywater Solutions, who we're working on for the Aspen test project. They're going to do a staff training on August 20th. So I've noticed it's for ducks only. Honestly, anyone here, if you're a cataloging advisory person, feel free to drop in. We do just want to keep it like around 20 to 25 people though, just because we want to have plenty of time for everyone to ask questions and really dig in, and there will be some opportunities, you know, if we do decide we want to go further along in this project and maybe pilot it with a few libraries, then at that point we would offer a lot more of these trainings. But this one's just kind of like a test the waters, give y'all an opportunity to ask some questions, and also to help shape any future trainings we may have if we go kind of go further. So are there any questions about that? Not seeing anything in the chat. So then that would cover things like, I still have to get a sense of what all that would be, but there's certainly, unlike Enterprise, there's features for you to configure some certain things yourself, like readers advisory lists that can go on the homepage or be embedded in your websites, for instance. So things like there's a lot of there'd be a lot more opportunities for you as library staff to kind of shape your own discovery system. So we want to show you all that good stuff. So here's where we're sort of at right now. Again, we do have the consortia catalog. That initial setup is fairly complete. So I should say that the initial setup's complete. The configuration we're still working on. So so you might notice some weird stuff, and that's totally to be expected. We do have the MARC imports and harvesting up and running, so that's exciting. We do still have some kick in the tires to do on that, and especially when we get those individual catalogs set up, we can look more at things like testing the availability facet. which I think is a big one for a lot of us. Record grouping, that kind of initial setup has also been done. So we get to kick the tires on that now. Synthetics is integrated, so we've got our book covers, and then there's kind of an initial setup done of patron account features. We've just done some cursory testing so far to make sure things like checkouts and that kind of thing are showing up. So right now in progress, we're working on setting up those individual library catalogs. So we're setting those up for, and I don't want you to feel like slighted if your library is not in this list, but we picked 3 libraries kind of based on just kind of like having a good group to test certain things. We have St. Charles because they have all the e-resources. Oak Park because the branches kind of present some unique challenges and we want to make sure we accommodate that. And then Elmwood Park is kind of, we just picked them as a good medium-sized library with kind of a more standard setup that will be reflective of most of probably our libraries in the consortium. So those are the 3 we're looking at right now. We're starting to get some of the e-resource integration done. I think I just saw a ticket come in that they might have gotten Cloud Library, all the information they needed to set that up. So that was one of our last ones. And then Bywater has to develop a connector for Baker and Taylor, which didn't exist in the system yet. So they're working on that for us. They're also working on an EDS interface integration. So that's not in our test instance yet, but I think we'll be in like the next couple weeks. We're really happy with the progress we've seen. That's coming along really quickly. I think they demoed it to us like maybe 2 weeks ago, and we're like, oh wow, that's looking really good. And then a week later, it's like, oh wow, there's even more stuff. So they're really moving fast on that. We also want to test the masquerade feature. So this is really cool. You can type in, basically if you have certain permissions in the catalog, you could just enter a patron's barcode and log in as them. So we're kind of figuring out how we want to deal with the permissions for that and start testing that out. So I know that's something that would be really great. A great alternative to things like asking for a patron's PIN over the phone, which is a little dicey privacy-wise. So we're pretty excited about that. And then we're in the middle of our configuration training. We have like an hour of training each week, and that's going to go up through August. So I think we've had 3 trainings at this point. Any questions so far? I know it was like a lot of information thrown at you. No one's piping in. Okay. Well, in that case, I just thought I'd show our kind of milestones. I presented this in our last meeting. So we basically have our test instance done. Y'all all worked on the personas and user stories in our last meeting. So we've gotten those polished up and we're going to use those today in our activity. And then Scott worked on a search query set and we drew from that also for this activity. And that's just kind of some representative searches that we're going to use to test out Aspen. So now we're looking at that. We're kind of in this configuration mode, and then hopefully this fall-ish we'll set up some more usability testing, which again will likely be remotely just because of where we are in our lives right now. And then we hope to make a recommendation to the SWAN board and the membership sometime in the 4th quarter of this year. So moving along pretty quickly. And again, if we're happy with this pilot, and then at that point we'd present to the membership, and if everyone wants to move forward, we'd likely have a pilot phase where there'd be a couple libraries that might go live. And might be able to offer, say, Aspen and Enterprise to their libraries at the same time. We haven't quite figured out exactly what that pilot phase would look like, but that would be the next step. So activity time. All right, we got Was anyone not able to get the activity worksheet in the chat? I'm going to assume everyone has it, and I'm just going to go ahead and share that here. So closing out of my slides. Okay. So here is the activity. Let me make this a little bigger here. Woo. So what we're going to do is you're going to take a persona, which we've got, oop, I had those ready to go. Where'd they go? Here we go. Okay. So we've got these personas here. So one, you should recognize most of them from our last meeting. So this is Dora. She was one of our example personas. So she's a big e-reader, likes to download ebooks, and uses the catalog a lot for that. So she'll look pretty familiar. Yeah, Frank the Frustrated, I know many of you worked on. So he's a grumpy guy, but does use some of the databases, which we won't worry about as much for this activity, and has interested in books on entrepreneurship and meat smokers. Then we have Hannah. Hannah is looking for Polish language materials and also children's book materials, or children's materials for a niece and nephew. Kevin is an 8th grader. This is one that Scott and Steven and I put together because we didn't have we had no kid personas, so we wanted to make sure we included a younger person in our array of personas here. So he's looking for things like video games and homework help materials. And then I think Larry is our last one. He is looking for business materials. The latest John Grisham, I think this is the one that says he would really like that book about the president being missing so much, which makes me chuckle every time I read it. So I did not really come up with a great way to assign you all your personas. So I was thinking for those of you that were here last time, it might make sense for you to just use the persona that you worked on, which I think covers most of y'all. But who wasn't here last time? I know we've got our CAT advisory visitors. Yeah, I think anyone that wasn't here last time, if you didn't work on one of them, then just pick a persona that appeals to you. And you're going to take that persona and you're going to do these searches as that persona. So you'll all your searches will be keyword searches. That should make it pretty easy. You're going to do them in both Enterprise and Aspen. I think the instructions are here, but I think what might be helpful is to just kind of do one together. So let's just do this first one together. So I'm going to send y'all the link to our Aspen test instance in the chat. And then you'll also use our defaults SWAN catalog, which is just catalog.swanlibraries.net if you have not seen that before. And so for this one, we're going to look for Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix on Blu-ray. So we'll try it out here in Aspen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Harry Potter Order. We'll just go Harry Potter Phoenix. We're gonna pretend that I'll say I'm Hannah the Pie Maker. I'm looking for this for my niece and nephew. Okay, so we're looking for Harry Potter and the Order of Phoenix on Blu-ray. Let me just check my instructions here real quick. So I found it in Aspen. So my instructions here are to record the position of the record on the search results screen. So, and the records are numbered. So this shouldn't be too difficult because this is a known item search. So in this case, the position would be 1. So that's pretty easy. Now we're gonna do the same thing. Make sure we're using the same keywords here. And in enterprise, it's number 3. We see our first version of it. So then I would note number 3 for enterprise. So pretty straightforward, right? If you notice anything weird, like I might note that, oh, in enterprise, the first result was a play away. I'd also note the exact keywords I use. So pretty straightforward. If you're using for author topic searches, recording the position of the item doesn't necessarily do a lot because there might be a couple of items that would be useful. So that would, for an example, would be if I look for, I'm trying to think of okay, say I did J.K. Rowling as a keyword search. There are a couple of options here. So say I was, I'm looking for a biography, that first result might need it, but then like some of these others might need it as well. So for those, use your best judgment as to what your persona might be looking for and record the number of results that would be relevant to them on that first page of results. Does that make sense? So you'll have a couple that we have like kind of prescribed items or author topics that we're looking for, and you can play around with the different keywords that you think your persona might try. I definitely encourage you to get creative there, and then you get to just really go off the rails and start and do 4 to 5 more searches just based on your persona and what you think they'd be looking for. You can also like think about just weird instances you've had either on your service desks or that you've heard people talking about that were difficult to find items, weird cases, weird cataloging issues, all those kinds of things. So that's it. Do y'all feel ready to go forth?
So Tyra, are you going to give us all like an independent time to go work on these and then we come back? Okay, so,
yes.
So I will pause the recording, right?
Yeah, I'd say let's just pause the recording and then we'll come back let's see. I wanted to let's give it a good 30 minutes. So yeah, let's just check back in, say around 2:20. No, wait, that's 40 minutes.
No, that's only 25.
Yes, that's 20 minutes. Yeah, let's check in at 2:20 and see where we're all at.
All right, I'll pause the recording.
We were in the middle of an activity, which you can totally do on your own. Let's see.
Oh, yes. That would be great. I'm sorry. I know I just got out of work myself. That's why I'm late. So, yes.
No worries. I'll go ahead and relink our documents here. So it was let's see. So actually the two documents we used were on the SWAN support site.
Got it.
But I can also link them here. So there's the activity sheet.
Oh, I see it.
Here we go. And the personas, and then the URLs we used are, here's the URL for Aspen, if you want to take.
Great.
Where is .NET? I hope I spelled that right. Probably should have just copied it. Okay.
Okay, this is great. Thank you.
Yeah. So how are y'all doing? I see a lot of muted microphones. Are we ready to talk?
You found a turnout book at 42, Michelle?
You must have used some really good search terms.
What was your person though? Who were you searching as?
Kevin the Kid.
Well, Kevin the Kid is clearly very tech savvy. He's got something over the rest of us. Though to be fair, I was I searched for it as just Hamilton, so I knew it was going to be probably bad, but I gave up after page 5.
Oh, I didn't search past any page 1. It's like not on page 1. Those were my notes.
I should have just told y'all to give up if it wasn't on page 1 or 2.
I gave up after page 1 because I knew Larry wouldn't go past page 1.
Yeah, Larry was definitely not going to go past page 1. Yeah, I realized we have we were kind of putting the final touches on the personas, and especially choosing images. I realized we have a couple of grumpy gooses in our. So what was your experience? Was there I guess first, was there we know that finding the Hamilton book was hard in Enterprise. How was your experience in Aspen?
I thought Aspen was almost clairvoyant.
What?
I thought Aspen was almost clairvoyant. Like everything I researched for was number 1, or 1 through 3.
Did anyone stump Aspen on a couple? Were there any that you noticed that didn't perform very well?
Yeah, actually, so I did Hannah the Pie Maker, who is Polish speaking, and she tried to search for Polish romances, and you actually find a couple in Polish if you search for that in Enterprise, but you don't find any on the first page in Aspen.
Yeah, I found the same thing. I noticed there was a little bit of I actually didn't realize this going into it. I clearly had not done a lot of testing myself, which is why I threw y'all at it. I didn't realize that the format button says Polish, which is kind of neat. So I found that for a couple of them, but then a couple the summary was in Polish, but it didn't indicate that the actual book was in Polish. So there was maybe some data things in there we might need to dig into. Yeah, I searched for pastry cookbook Polish, and I got 1 result in Aspen and 0 in Enterprise. So there was definitely some stuff with the language searching that's a little tough. What else?
I struggled with serials.
Yes.
Okay, with the Newsweek?
Yeah.
Yeah, so tell me about that.
Well, I liked that there was only 1 Newsweek title instead of by year, but then I couldn't find, I couldn't place a hold, or I couldn't find the issues within the year. So what I initially really liked, then when I dug into it, it's no, I can't find what I'm looking for, and I can't request it.
Yeah, we stuck that one in there on purpose. It's a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I had the same experience of just in Enterprise. There's way too many results, but we eventually found 2020. But then you have all the issues for 2020. But in Aspen, it was number one. But yeah, I was able to find it. But you had to scroll through the list and then click on view more copies, and then it would take you to the 2020 listings. But that wasn't super intuitive, unlike all the other results in Aspen so far. I saw.
Yeah, I think there's definitely some things that are intentionally buried that can be good, and and I've noticed there's some things that kind of keeps it out of the way, but if you're like looking for a specific edition of a book, that can be a little challenging, or for the serials, getting those specific editions is pretty buried in there. What about, did anyone come across anything with like the auto-correcting of search results?
So I tried, my 8th grader spelled Stephen King with a V, and that was super unhelpful.
Yep, I did the same. So nothing. It didn't correct it, sadly.
Yeah.
I accidentally spelled detective incorrectly for the detective agency ladies, and Aspen did find it. It was still number 1. So that was good.
Yeah,
I thought the detective agency search was so interesting, because I just had my person search for ladies detective series, and Aspen brings them up in order. And the same search in Enterprise, nope.
Yeah, I couldn't tell what was the second book in Enterprise.
Yeah, I had a real hard time with that one in Enterprise. My terms I used just keyword ladies detective agency, and Aspen listed book 1 first and book number 2 was second. And that search is tricky because it's like number 1 is actually in the series, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was like, Tara did that on purpose, didn't you?
No, I didn't. Scott did it. Blame it on him. I don't. Yeah, there's Scott. You're here still.
Yeah, and thanks a lot.
All right, I'll shake my fist at Scott.
Yeah, Scott actually came up with the majority of these terms from his search set. So.
Yeah, with that search, I did the same thing as Aaron, just the straight up ladies detective agency, and in Enterprise, just the regular book in it was result number 117. So
yeah, you were patient to figure that out.
Well,
the large print was number 70, but the regular book was 117.
I kept at that search thinking like, well, depending on how determined someone was, use the format facet to narrow it down to a book. And it wasn't until I got to the 29th position that I actually found that number 2 of the series, but it was in large print. So at least I got to it at some point. It wasn't easy in Enterprise.
I just saw Jean's comment, but she says I think referring to the Newsweek discussion, she didn't like that it's called a journal instead of a magazine, which I kind of feel the same way, especially once we get EBSCO results, or the EBSCO discovery integration. We might want to separate those out, but
I noticed that when you went to pretty much across the board, if you went to title, detail, more details, the contributors don't show up. They're links, but they don't bring up anything in Aspen.
Title details for...
I've tried it for a few things. Do Steven Spielberg was the first one I found it on, but I found it on others.
Let's see. Yeah, let me, I'll share my screen. We can look at look at it together. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so we go to title. And then
go down more details. See that accordion?
more detail. Oh, okay.
And then do more because I wanted to get Steven's producer director contribution.
Oh, yeah.
But I think any of those you click, you're going to get no data.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But yet the author searches from, like if you do the Stephen King and then you immediately go to the author page, those are really robust.
Yeah, I'm curious. That's interesting. Yeah, we'll have to look into that. I feel like there's something.
It just might not be set up
happening with that, like,
yeah.
Something just might not quite set up right.
Yeah, in the config.
Yeah.
But one thing that I really liked that Enterprise did for that was that you saw the byline for Steven Spielberg really easily on Enterprise. So I knew, without having to know if the movie was actually directed by Steven Spielberg, I could tell that it said it right there.
Oh, yeah. So for an Aspen, we don't have there's no like director or creator. I guess I should say creator credit for movies.
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that. I was just sort of psyched that it was bringing back movies that I knew were by him, but I didn't.
Yeah.
I think
So,
if there was
like,
a lesser known director.
Like if I did books, then okay. So I think Aspen, at least right now, is set so it does not show the author or the creator credit on movies. Which I'd be curious. I know they've done like a lot of they've done a ton of usability testing on this. So I'd be curious to hear from Mark, the primary developer on Aspen, like what they saw in usability testing that might have led to that decision, or if that's something that we might want to consider adding back in.
I did really like the author card. Like if you go to Stephen King, and then pull up his author page.
Sorry. Yes. Oh, and I spelled it wrong again. So let's see what happens. I think it's, yep. Doesn't like it, and it doesn't correct it. Okay. I thought this usually, I don't see, oh, there it goes. Just takes a minute. Yeah, that's that Wikipedia integration in there.
I also liked at some point there was I don't even remember what the search was. Oh, it was for the Hamilton one. It showed a New York Times list. And then I started meandering in that.
Oh, I should change my. I don't know why Hamilton produces a Cinderella Blu-ray as the first result, but
so the fact that it appears on list, I like.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
even up above,
like
if
that.
you go up above, not go further up, Tara. See right appears on list underneath number 2.
Oh wow, I've never noticed that.
I liked that.
Did anyone else notice that? Cool. So were there any of your like, kind of your unique searches that you did based on your persona that you found anything interesting or weird that Enterprise maybe did a little better?
Yeah, I found one. My kid was doing a project on the invention of gunpowder, which is a question I've actually had. And just searching gunpowder and Aspen brings back 0 relevant results, whereas Enterprise had 3 results in the top 4. So I was shocked that Enterprise did so much.
Yeah, so you get, that is interesting. Yeah.
That's super fascinating.
If you search gunpowder inventor, then you get relevant results in Aspen, but I didn't even need to search Enterprise. So.
That might be an interesting downside of the like relevancy algorithms. So let's see.
Like that second one?
Yeah. Yeah, so like that would be relevant. I think that third one would be relevant. Interesting. So I think what we're seeing is Enterprise really heavily weights the title, and Aspen is bringing in, so like Graham said, Aspen seemed like it was clairvoyant. So I think that clairvoyance is really, they're weighting a couple things. The number of, and some of this I'm like not 100% sure if it's totally set up completely. Like I don't know if number of checkouts is factored into our relevancy scores yet. I know we were talking about how to pull that out, but certainly like number of holds is one of the factors. What's interesting is the number of formats attached to an item also boosts the relevancy score. Like the more items that are attached to it basically will boost it. So for this first one, there's not actually that many items, but it must have a lot of holds is my guess. And so some of those things about like the invention of gunpowder might have had fewer checkouts, fewer holds. So you're seeing those actually get suppressed. So it's kind of like a negative effect of those relevancy boosts. I'm checking out. Jean says that she had records for series items. That's interesting. So the example is Baby Mouse versus Jennifer L. Holm, the author. Enterprise always shows the series info with their records, but Aspen does not. Oh, that's interesting. So doing the author search.
I took the step of playing around with gunpowder and the reading level or audience level, depending on using those facets. And if you change the reading level to juvenile in Aspen, you start to get a lot closer maybe to the search you're looking for, Michelle.
That makes a lot.
Enterprise does as well. Like the results are overlap quite a bit. Well.
Okay. So I did a search for the author, and I do see this series. Jean, were you saying that you I'll have to dig into that one. So yeah, that is also another good point with the
Jean, is your number 1 and number 12 if you go to the series, Baby Mouse?
Yeah, so that's, I see the series there. Is it, if I just search for Baby Mouse, is that when it doesn't come up?
I think Jean's saying that we get 2, number 1 and number 12.
Oh, okay. I see.
All right, that's why the cataloging people are in here.
Yeah.
There's something wrong with that catalog record.
One of the 2 records for Burns River that shows number 1 in the record. Okay. Yeah. Does it say volume 6, 2, 3? Yeah, this one's also not in order. So there's 1. I don't see the other. Let me click in the detail view. Number 1 shows up. Let's see. I thought I clicked it, but I didn't. Is it in more details? I'm not sure. I just see the volume 12. Is it in editions? Other record. I did not see another record in here for the Burns River. Oh, the other item, maybe? I may have to dig into this. It's a little awkward to work out over chat. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Anyway, so yeah. Well, I'm excited to dig into your activities. So if you don't mind just emailing those to me, tara@swanlibraries.net, and then we'll kind of compile them and do a little bit of quantitative-ish analysis and see kind of where like search positions and number of relevant results ended up.
Tara, do you want us to finish before we send them to you with a deadline of end of day tomorrow to get them to you?
Sure, yeah. If you didn't finish them, feel free to take some more time, but also if you got through the set searches and you don't feel like you have time to do some of the other ones where you're kind of coming up with searches for your persona, that's fine. You can just send me what you've got done. But obviously the more the merrier. The more weird stuff we find, the better. All right, so yeah, that took longer than I had kind of anticipated, but I think we probably need a little break. So you want to come back, say at 3 o'clock, and we'll wrap up our meeting? Okay.
I'm here.
Do you want to, I have a tiny little slide for our EBSCO thing. Is there anything you wanted to share? Screen sharing wise?
Yeah, can I share? Is that okay?
Yeah, totally. I was going to ask if you wanted to take the reins.
All right. Okay. So all of the EBSCO links are out to everyone, and they're all configured in the same way. So if we have any changes that we need to make, that should be pretty simple because it'll be pretty much the same for everybody. Oh, I just wanted to remind you that on site, the links should go right directly into the database, and off site, we've tested them and they're all working through Athens. So if they're not working on site for any reason, please let us know because we're going to need to update your IP ranges. And then I just wanted to show you, you've seen the patron site already, but I'm going to show it to you again. Under articles and databases, And then if you click databases, you can find your library in this list. And it'll show all of your EBSCO databases here in alphabetical order, which is awesome. And then let's see, how can I do, well, let's just use this one. Then I want to show you just an example of how they've all been configured, how all of the catalogs have been configured with EDS. So I'll just give an example of Acorn here. So if you do a search and then you look at the tab for articles, there we go. And these are all going to be limited to full text articles. And if you scroll down on the left, you'll see the content provider, and that's a list of your databases that can be found in EDS. And then Tara added this also see, which are the other standard databases, which is really cool. Coming up on October 7th, after we've had a little bit of time to see some usage on the databases, we're going to have a training class on how to read the EBSCO statistics, because they're a little bit confusing. And I'm going to talk about Counter 5 as well, and what the difference is between clicks, searches, investigations, and full text. So that'll be coming up on October 7th. And how do there we go. So you can not register on L2 just yet, but you can find it on L2 and copy and paste that info and then put it in your Outlook calendar, which is what I did. And if you have any questions at all, you can email help@swanlibraries.net and we will answer your question. That's it. That was brief.
Are there any questions? I just want to take a moment and really brag on Robin, because holy crap, this is a huge project. And I think it went, I think for hopefully for most of y'all it went pretty smoothly. We had a couple hiccups on our end. Just some staffing changes at EBSCO and some other things that kind of all collided with our timeline. But
well, you know what's really awesome about this? We've got 1.8 million people now with access to all of these resources, and coming up soon we'll have a couple more thousand people with the new libraries that will also have access. So that's awesome. We've got like 2 million people in SWAN library land that can have access to these databases, and I think that's the thing that we were aiming for. So yeah, I think it's pretty cool.
It would be great to hear from all of you, like on your side of the fence, how it felt, and could we have communicated better? Could we coordinated better? What can we do next time? We saw the work going in on the back end, but we sure tried to hide a lot of that from you. So we hope it seems smooth. So let us know what you think. Is anybody talking that's muted?
It's so, I feel like it went so smooth that, we barely knew about it, except for the emails Robin sent out. And knowing that it does look so much better. Like, as I'm searching through it now, I think it's going to be really useful as we move forward. Having the link for the IDs, I mean, just so that everyone, it's all kind of, it's nice that it's all the same now. I feel like that was just something that was frustrating before, and it's now a lot smoother to log in the same way. And yeah, it's great. I'm going to need to play around with it a little bit more to give more feedback. But
I agree. I think it seemed to go very smoothly, although I'm not the one that has to implement it. And so I think it was just for our staff updating our website and the links on our end. I don't even know if that's happened yet because I know that they've been very busy with other things. So, but everything on the SWAN side seems to have been wonderful. So thank you.
Yeah, we realized this kind of was maybe, I don't know if it was good or bad timing that many of you were reopening around the same time as this was going live. So I don't know if it was a, you know, kind of an annoyance to have to deal with it, if it was sort of like, you know, yeah, just something to get to when you get to.
I think that training will be helpful, especially for statistics, because that's always been such a pain to kind of get an idea. So I think that I'm going to suggest that well, at least one staff member from Downers Grove to attend that. I think that'll be good. Yeah, this is cool.
Anything else? Anything that y'all are doing to try to, it might be a little too soon, but anything that you're doing to provide like instruction or promotion for any of the resources? I know for some of you, some of them are resources like consumer reports you already have. They're just cheaper now. And I don't know if there's probably anyone in this group that got, I know some of you probably have a few new databases.
Yeah, I just sent out an email with links to EBSCO training stuff for all of our both adult and youth services reference desk staff and said, here, I know everybody's busy, but when you've got a minute.
Yeah. Okay. Well, feel free to pipe in if you have any other questions or comments about EBSCO, but I thought I'd also just have an open forum where we could talk about anything that's come up as you're reopening. I know some of the stuff with like the backup of holds was an issue that came up on the forums, and kind of that disconnect between the on-shelf status and enterprise, but then the time that it actually takes for your staff to pull things for curbside. I don't know if y'all are still seeing kind of issues there, if there's adjustments and enterprise that could help, you know, during this kind of reopening period.
So one thing that has come up at my library is that we used to be able to search by type, like what type in Enterprise, but once we did something, I don't know if it was just us joining SWAN or something else, we can no longer search by like large print or picture book or board book or anything like that. And we were just wondering if there's anything we can do about that. If that makes sense.
Yeah, Scott would likely be able to speak to this more authoritatively than I can.
Yeah, sorry, I had trouble getting to my unmute button.
That's
that
okay.
is a change when you came over. There was a day in many years ago, a time when SWAN also had was using item type for its format facet, which would have made it, I think, searchable in that way. It wasn't possible to keep doing that just because of the choices that libraries made regarding item type sometimes didn't match up, and you weren't getting comprehensive results by choosing one type over another. It was confusing. So we pushed together type into that format vocabulary, which doesn't cover everything that you mentioned. But it's so what you're trying to do is kind of split between a couple of places. The first is in format. Of course, that's where like large print lives and audiobook, CD, all that stuff. But just this week, we also launched that genre facet. You may have seen a SWAN come about it last week. That genre facet is where you might be able to get at some of the other examples you just mentioned, picture books, board books. They're all part of a controlled genre form vocabulary that we've been making an attempt to use more in the SWAN catalog. And so this genre facet, it's about 2/3 of the way down on the left side of the enterprise search, and it might be what you want to look for to get at what you're trying to get at. So the terms are selectable there, but they're also keyword searchable. So if those terms exist in a record, they should pop up.
Yeah, I've been playing with the genres now a little bit more. Thank you for bringing that up because I'm really curious. So I typed in, there's a book called How to Be Alone. I'm just pulling up like the differences between genre and subject, and holy crap, there's a lot of genres. I'm so amazed at how many there are, and it's actually really cool. You have a lot of different, it seems, I mean, obviously I've looked at subjects too, but I'm just surprised by how many options there are. That's really neat.
Yeah, it surprises me too. Even, I mean, I work with these every day, but like when we did at our fireside, excuse me, our poolside chat earlier this week, we showed off the genre, and one of the examples I found before to prepare for that was something I had never seen before. But there's an actual genre for patterns. If you search for knitting, and there was genre for knitting patterns very specifically, and I had never seen that before. So there's some neat things in there that'll surprise you. So I would encourage you to keep your eye on it.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you. Well, back to the thing about holds, I think overall, and I can't speak for everybody, but it seems like overall, now that we've gotten a better idea, we've gotten a better handle on holds where the process is going a lot quicker than it was before. And patrons, now that the libraries are reopening, you're seeing the holds are not going to be as crazy. Like when patrons realized the only way they were going to get something from the library was going to the catalog and then pressing that hold button, then it was crazy. And it was like, we saw like, at one point, I think we were up to 4,000 holds within a couple day period. It was crazy. And it was just insane. And we haven't been having those numbers since. So maybe it was just a very short term problem, which is good.
That's what we were hoping would be the case, but
yeah. It was really panic inducing for a while, but
yeah, I think you was Downers Grove the winner of the craziest poll list?
I'm not
sure.
It was just I remember looking at it like when they pulled it, it was like a stack. Like they printed it out. It was like a novel of just holds. I was like, oh my God, we're never getting through this. But they did it. They did a great job. But yeah, it's a lot more manageable. I just placed holds for my 4-year-old, and hey, I got it the next day. It was a beautiful thing. So hooray.
Good. I'm glad to hear the holds are.
It's so much better.
Calming down a little bit.
Oftentimes I think you guys hear about the bad stuff and not the stuff that's actually, it's going so much better now. Yes. Curbside pickup is still available for us. I know not every library is doing both at the same time, but Downers Grove, we're doing both. So people can still place their holds on Enterprise, and then we have a desk in the library as well, so they can do both. And I think I would say we're getting about 50-50 about people doing that. So that's nice.
Yeah, one of the things that I think is interesting about curbside and virtual programs, and it's something that we talked about at a different meeting I was at, a networking meeting, that some of these services that we have thrown together for pandemic service will stay on long after this is all over. There seems to be a significant demand for curbside outside of the pandemic, we think. So that may be a service we forever. And same with chat reference. We will be keeping chat reference on long after everything goes back to normal because patrons have really taken to it.
Yeah, totally agree. Absolutely.
Really interesting.
it's helped us to kind of think more clearly about the needs of our patrons. You know, the immunocompromised, there were home services and there is home services for a lot of patrons, but thinking about patrons who can drive, but they're not going to feel comfortable coming into a library. They're going to feel more comfortable using curbside or, having something they can, there's just so many different needs of the community. I think you're right.
How do you all feel about SWAN user group meetings continuing, just meeting online? Because, normally Ducks would actually be meeting at, a location in person. Does this fit more within what you're trying to accomplish, being at the library in this sort of pandemic world? Maybe the idea of it when it's all over, we continue just doing these online?
Kelly says I miss meeting in person.
Okay.
I mean, it was a really good excuse to go home early. Like I used to travel to the meeting and well, it makes no sense to go back down south if I'm just going north to go home.
Mm-hmm.
So there was that, but I actually do love virtual meetings. I have to be honest.
It is a little easier at least definitely for right now. I can see at the beginning of the year with all the changes with buildings, and I'm working 50% at Downers Grove. We're doing 50% of our hours from home, and in the library, it just makes sense not to be running off to another meeting right now somewhere else. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we have any. I mean, we're, as far as I know, planning is certainly for the remainder of the year to hold our meetings virtually. I sort of toyed around with the idea of after the pandemic, would it make sense to say run this meeting mostly virtually and then we kind of get together in person, for an end of the year party or summertime party or something. When we're all able to get together in person. But Jean says, thinks in person is best, but the online meetings are a good alternative and a nice chance to try things out and do online activities together. Yeah, that's been the hardest part of this is, I love my Post-its and activities. So I've had to get a little more creative with the activities. I think so far I think y'all have been game, which I really appreciate. And the last one was our last meeting was a little bit of a fail. I'm not gonna lie, that whole group rooms kind of was weird, but I think we can keep experimenting and see what works. Yeah, Dawn says our stockpile of Post-its is gonna last a while. Yeah, it's just archived away. Yeah, Michelle says it's easier to get away for 2 hours than half the day, but also stadium meeting in person every few months. So
Combination of both sounds good once we're able.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm sure this isn't a memo. When are the new libraries starting up again? When are they becoming a part of SWAN? Was there a date for that?
We're looking at a
December.
December date for those first 2 weeks of December. So there's a lot of online consultation that's going on right now with data loaders, and Dawn Torrell is leading that project with Scott's involvement and Stephen Schluett's involvement. So we've been making pretty good headway with the item type consolidation that Scott is leading. So
yeah, Sam's doing that, making great. We're hoping these libraries are going to be our models. So Sam's working on that.
Yeah, we'll have kicked the tires on that enough to see how well it will work for the rest of the consortium.
And you will all start seeing new policies soon. I'm not sure if Sam is still in this session or not, but I think the policies will actually be loaded sometime in August. So you're going to actually start seeing the GSD, ROD, WVD codes for those libraries. They won't have items and people in, but policies and their library will start appearing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think Sam had to duck out to work on the policies, it
Yeah,
looks
I'm
like.
sure she
Yeah.
did.
um, yeah. So we got about 5 more minutes. Is there any other quick topics we want to discuss? I think I'm gonna, for the Aspen training, I'll also post this to the forums, but I think just email me if you want to, if you can go to that training, and then I'll send you the registration link. We're just scared if we put it, live on on L2, that we'll get like a bunch of registrants, or we'll get, get some of you won't be able to register, which I would really hate. So I just want to kind of give y'all first dibs, and then, yeah, we can open it up if there's not very many people that can show up for that. I think it'll be fun. So yeah, and also feel free to use that Aspen link if you want to get on there, and you can log into your account. I think one thing you'll notice related to that, if you you would have to turn on checkout history to start tracking your checkouts again, and that's something we have to see if we could. Dom, or did we figure out that we could import checkout history but not lists? Was that, I think that was the
But we won't be able to do that because I don't think we will. I think we'll be starting from scratch, but we will see.
So yeah. We're pretty sure the lists are a no-go, but it would be nice if we could import checkout history settings, but that we will have to see. Yeah, play around. And yeah. And post any questions to the forums. We're always checking.
I do have one question about the importing the checkouts and everything, or not being able to. If they are going away, if you guys all had some easy way for patrons to like download them themselves, or a particular resource that we could recommend to our patrons, that might be an acceptable alternative for those who use it.
Yeah. I'm really hoping we can figure out a way at least to import checkout history. One of the nice things is once we were in Aspen, they would be able to download those as a spreadsheet. That functionality exists in Aspen, but it doesn't help us at all migrating over. So yeah, but we will look into what options we've got there.
Thank you.
Coming from one of the, coming in to SWAN recently and having losing the My List feature, was that something?
I don't know. I never heard any comments whatsoever.
Okay. Okay. I think at least for the list we went during that migration, I think we realized it was just a small fraction of patrons that even had saved lists. So, but yeah, the checkout history, I think, that's the thing I think we really need to focus on, making sure we're able to save in some way, or preferably migrate. All right, well, that's it. Our next official meeting isn't until September, so hopefully I'll see some of y'all at the training. That's August 20th at 1 p.m., not 1:30. I tried to get us 1:30, but so no one will be confused. But yeah, I had to work around some schedules, but yeah. And send your sheets. I think I got a couple emails, but we will take a look at those and compile those results. So I'm especially excited to see what weird searches y'all found.